Hello and welcome to the Greater Reston Living Podcast. We are the voice of Reston, and I'm your host, Graham.
Kathy.
And we cover everything in Reston and Herndon. Today we've got a pretty interesting review of what's happening with Reston's traffic. We're going to answer the question, is relief coming to Reston's traffic ills coming soon? Stay tuned for that. But we do have, before we get there, we got a couple of things that we got to cover. Kathy, we had a fantastic little jaunt over to a place that we hadn't heard of before, Mindshift Gym. You want to give everybody an update of what we found there and what you were doing there?
It was so much fun. So Mindshift reached out to us, and it is a parkour gym. Parkour, acrobatics, hula hooping. Like, who knew that Reston had a parkour gym? So I wasn't quite sure what it was when I heard Mindshift. And then I dug into it and I was like, Graham Tracy, guess what
But
I'm
wait a
doing?
minute, some people might not know what parkour is. So
Okay.
what is parkour?
It's like you see people like in parks jumping, like running up the wall and doing a flip or jumping off a building. Jumping
You
from
usually see
railing
this
to
on where? You see it
railing.
on TikTok or Instagram
Yeah.
Reels or something, right? Where you're going to see
Yeah.
these guys or anyone just they jump off of one railing onto another one 10 feet below, that kind of thing.
Yes, we went and experienced parkour. I also did hammock yoga, which, my body got in positions I felt it for days. And I also did another hula hooping class, which was so much fun because it's where you get to feel like a kid again. And the instructors were amazing. I met a lot of them. And what is really also interesting, the video is out yesterday on Instagram. And YouTube Shorts.
And you can find it YouTube
there.
Shorts.
And I have not experienced this yet, but they have a fire truck that transforms into a parkour gym so it can travel for birthday parties or events. And I'm excited about that. So Mindshift.
Yeah, I think it's a cool spot especially for, well, really any age. It definitely was any age there.
That's
kids
what they
in particular.
encourage. They want movement from kids to grandparents.
Yeah, and I think though, like kids, especially kids that are, they're maybe not doing traditional sports, but you want to get them fit and active. It's a great spot because there's something different there every single time for them to do and become really flexible, I guess, right? So it seemed pretty cool. I think if that was around when our kids were growing up, maybe we would have gone over there.
Yeah, and Graham said that he wants to go and try some of the stuff too. So
yeah, but after
you guys, if you want more information, we'll link it below so you can go and check out Mindshift.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop 20 before I do that, but okay. So anyway, the carousel at Franklin Park. You were over there the other day.
I'm a little sad.
Yeah.
So I read an article over at Franklin Park. It's the oldest working farm in Fairfax County, and they have a carousel that came in 2011. The carousel is 108 years old. Remember Snowcrete back in February?
Oh, yeah. Of course we remember that.
It was terrible. So that did severe damage to the carousel that they had inspectors come out. They can't fix it. So it's toast. It's leaving April 1st. But
did they say are they going to replace it?
Yes. I did just learn that, it's going to be removed April 1st. And then there's a new carousel coming in spring 2027. So I don't know if it's going to be an old one.
Next season.
I don't know.
Next season.
Yeah, next year.
Okay.
But, I'm sad.
Yeah. And they did say, if you go to the Fairfax County Park website and you go look at Frying Pan Park and the carousel, they'll point you to 4, 5, 6 other places where there might be a carousel. So if you're interested in bringing your kids over there or getting some photos with the carousel, you can find some. Burke Lake was one, a couple other places.
Lake Akatank. So, and we're going to share that also on our Instagram page because we feel like everybody should go and experience a carousel.
Cool. Okay, and Easter's coming up. So
It is.
something caught your eye?
Well, we just shouted out some of the places to get Easter brunch. But
Yeah.
I was like, I was looking around and things came in my feed. And I just thought it was really fun to see that Chibu, the macarons, who over at Lake Anne, Chelsea, she's amazing. And she always has something fun. She did cherry blossom stuff and she did, St. Patty's Day stuff, but she has an Easter bunny macaron.
Okay.
So I wanted
cool.
to share that. I know she's open this weekend. Well, at least tomorrow. Well, today's Friday. And then Ted's Bulletin. Ugh, who doesn't love a homemade Pop-Tart? Haven't had one in a while. Quite frankly, I don't need them, but they have an Easter one with a peep on it. So I might have to go over there and get one after this. So just some fun stuff for Easter. That's not chocolate or Easter baskets, but a fun little treat.
Get me one, or I won't be able to try the parkour with you next time. So, okay.
We need a Pop-Tart.
Yes. And so before we get into our big topic about Reston's traffic, I got to tell you.
Here it comes. Here it
this
comes.
Is a warning to everybody out there in Reston, Herndon land. We've got a lot of trees in Reston, and with trees comes a lot of squirrels. If you've got a car parked near some of these, then you might want to open up the hood if it's been a while. Because let me tell you, I opened up the hood on my car the other day, and there was a nest, giant nest in the center of this, on top of my engine block, basically.
Well, you realized that something was going on because the turn signal was not working.
Yeah, so we were dropping off our son at Dulles Airport. And then as I'm pulling out, I put the left blinker on to get out of the lane of dropouts, and it's not working. What's going on? And I test the right blinker. Right blinker's working. Okay, I'm going to have to get that fixed. Park the car when we get home. Next day, forgot about it. Again, find it didn't work. Then I do the right blinker. Right blinker doesn't work. So I pop the hood, and there's the nest. They had been chewing all of the lines. Now, I've done some deep dive research at this point to help you guys out. Anybody who has this problem. Number one, squirrels do this because they need to chew
their teeth never stop growing.
Teeth never stop growing. That's right. The teeth never stop growing, so they chew on things. And normally they're chewing on bark of the trees, and they're chewing on their acorns and whatever. And that usually does it. But in the wintertime, they don't have any acorns, so they go looking for other things. And it so happens that a lot of plastic, especially the plastic wrapping of the wires in a Honda, of which I have, they're soy-based. And so that they like the taste of that. So they start chewing away, and next thing you know, there's no wire connecting to your blinker. And worse, right? So to the tune of $700 worth of activity here.
But this is the second time it's happened. And so the squirrels are our enemy. Mom, I'm sorry. My mom loves squirrels. They are the enemy. But we have over the fence a family of foxes. We have no bunny rabbits. We have no chipmunks because they eat them. But we have tons of squirrels. And I've had it.
This is the second time this has happened to my car, because the first time it was about $1,200 worth of damage and the engine wouldn't start. So I've now gone out, Amazon, bought all the devices. I've got this peppermint oil spray. We'll see if that works. We've got a strobe light with emitting sound kind of device that I'm going to have to put in there and see if we can teach these squirrels a lesson. I feel like for anybody out there that's nostalgic and has seen the Caddyshack, I feel like the who's it? Bill Murray chasing after the gopher.
Yeah.
That's me with the squirrels. So
they are not our friends anymore.
Yeah. And there's a lot of trees down in South Reston, all of Reston, Herndon, a lot of them too, but certainly in Reston we've got them. So
open your hood and blow out the nest.
Yeah. All right. So that was fun. Now you got me riled up about these squirrels, Kathy, but let's see if we can transition. So this next topic really came about because so many, two reasons. One, there was some news on this issue, so we're gonna cover that. But also, we get a ton of people commenting every time we do videos or have discussion about any of the new developments that are happening around Reston, right? So we've been highlighting different developments like the redevelopment of the T-Mobile campus. Reston Crossing has been a new one. Haley Rise, Isaac Newton Square. There's all of these different developments happening. And every time we give out the news on it, or relay the news, I should say, people are up in arms. Some people are up in arms saying, "Oh my goodness, now we're going to have more traffic." They talk about unaffordable housing, but the traffic comes up a lot. Infrastructure and traffic comes up a lot. So the big question now is, we just got some news. Question is relief coming to Reston's traffic ills soon? And that's what we want to go over. Is there's this plan that's been in place for a while. In fact, Restonians have been paying taxes, extra property tax for a long while to create the funds for this particular project, but we haven't seen any movement really on it. And there's starting to be some movement. So that's what I want to talk about today and get into that, Kathy. So first, I want to go to our friends over at Fairfax Now, where they were talking about the board calling for some new analysis or initial analysis of already planned Reston Parkway and Hunter Mill intersection projects. And we're talking about a project that is been long-standing. This is part of the Reston Transportation Service District, which has been in place for almost a decade. I think it was
In
2017.
has been paying taxes to fix a lot of the traffic problems that we're having. And we're going to spotlight, and one of them really shocked me. I had no idea that was such a problem. But now, I mean, I know it's a problem, but yeah.
Right. So what's happening now is that this advisory board that was set up when the Reston Transportation Service District was put in place, back in 2017, they were kind of waking up, I'm going to call it, right? And they're taking a look at the projects that were outlined back then, and they're saying we need to make some movement on these. But so much time has gone by that the prices and the review process needs to be initiated again, right? Because the traffic ills of 2017 are different than 2026 and even 2027 when these projects would actually get implemented, right?
Yeah, and the board chair Adam Rubenstein said we need to catch up and start actually paying for what they're supposed to be paying for.
Right. So these projects have been in place, and so I want to go into them. They've ranked them here. I've got a better view of that. So they've set forth and ranked a set of projects, and there are 8 of them. And not all of them are in Reston. Some touch in Herndon over by Centerville Road. So we've got ranked priority number 1, the intersection of Reston Parkway and Blumont Way, right? So this is near where the Hyatt is. Then number 2, Reston Parkway and New Dominion Parkway. This is where Not Your Average Joe's is. And then we're talking about number 3, Hunter Mill Road and Sunset Hills Road. So now we're talking on the east side of Reston, near the toll road.
It's like underneath that overpass.
Yeah, there's a little overpass there. It kind of backs up people trying to get on there, especially during rush hour. Reston Parkway and Sunrise Valley Drive. Now, here's one of the things. I won't go through all of them, but those are some of the major ones. And then there's other ones that are near Centerville Road, Reston Parkway, and so on. But you look at these estimates in 2016, we're talking about $4 million. Well, let's zoom in. $4 million to fix this Reston Parkway, Blumont Way situation, which we'll deep dive on in a second. Now they're estimating it at $7.4 million, right? And so if you go through this list, you see almost doubling of it. So we went from $44 million was the original estimate back when this was put in place, and now we're talking about $82 million. So the costs are skyrocketing, and it just shows the cost of delay on this. There was seemingly no explanation for why it's taken this long to get to the point where we finally want to allocate the money. But the politicians are at least trying to push that through. Just more on the money situation, for example. Just to give everybody an idea here, this was the original funding plan for this transportation project. It was 1.2 billion with a B dollars of roadway improvements. Then these specific intersection projects would be about 44 million total. And then there were going to be another billion of grid network updates. So we're talking about 2.265 billion. We got to be close to 3 or 4 billion now if that was the cost in 2016, given what we're seeing on the intersections, right? So this is insane, if you ask me, right? And let's take a look. So let's get into one of them just to give an example. So we're going to get into the Reston Parkway, Blumont Way. We want to look at it, but I first want to just say what we're talking about. And this is nearly $8 million to restripe. Now we're just talking about paint, right? Restripe the existing northbound direction of Reston Parkway at Blumont. I'll show you where that is in a minute if you can't picture it. To have 2 left turn lanes, 2 through lanes, and 1 through right lane. And then they're going to need to replace the signal. And then they're going to make ADA handicap ramps and then correct some drainage. And this is going to cost nearly $7.5 million to do that. So let's take a look at, for anybody. Are you with me so far, Kathy, on this? Are we?
Yeah, you kind
Am I
of cut out
confusing
for a
people
little
yet?
bit. Well, you kind of cut out, but I was surprised that this was what it says is this is the site of the most crashes overall, the most involving pedestrians, and the most severe crashes. And I remember working with a client who was across the way at the Stratford House, and she would talk about hearing the fire engines and see the ambulance and those people living across the street it's a nightmare. And that's where our office is, and we're driving it every day. And I know, I really pay attention there because it is so dangerous. And
Right. So I'm
a little surprised that it was this one, but I'm not surprised.
Right. Well, let's start by looking here. I've got the Google Street View. Are you able to see that?
Mhm.
Where I'm at the corner of Sunset Hills and Reston Parkway. So I'm going to start
right
there.
when you get off the Dulles Toll Road.
Exactly.
Where you
So there's
cross over
already
4 lanes.
a game of Frogger happening there.
Ugh, that's
And-
one of the worst too. I don't know why that's not on here.
I don't know. It definitely should be, but we'll cover that another time. But let's just drive forward. So here's what happens. You pull up, you cross over Sunset Hills. If you're going northbound toward the town center, so anybody from South Reston's doing this a lot. And then you want to turn into the town center just before the Hyatt. So that's Blumont Way. So you get into that left turn lane. And for anybody who's been there during rush hour or heavy shopping days or what have you, you know that this lane gets backed up and cars are sticking their rear ends out into this other lane. Sometimes backs up all the way to Sunset Hills. So, of course, you get people careening all over the place to try to avoid this and rushing. They usually jump out into the right lanes here and then accelerate because they're annoyed. And I think that's part of what's happening here is apparently there's a lot of pedestrian accidents that are happening right here.
Yep.
Like you were just saying, Kathy,
Yep.
your client had said that there were she heard ambulances, looked out the window. There was a lot of activity here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's so apparently what they're doing is they're saying, okay, we're going to make 2 left turn lanes, badly needed, right? 2 left turn lanes. I assume that means that they're going to change this part when you turn left in here such that you have 2 lanes to get into, because this has always been backing people up too.
The people going into the hotel. But those people going into the hotel, are they going to know which lane to be in so they can turn?
I know. I feel like you need 3 lanes here because you need one that's essentially like right turn only to get into this thing. Because otherwise you're just going to have people slamming their brakes.
People aren't paying attention. People aren't paying attention. And they're looking
already
down at their
happening.
phones. Yeah.
Let's see if we can get a closer view. Yeah. So constantly turning left in here, and then somebody slams their brakes to turn right. They're stuck in the middle here, and you can't get around them. And next thing you know, everybody's backing up again into that intersection. Hopefully, that's going to include some fixes here as well.
And it's not that long of a light.
Not that
to
long of a
turn.
light. You sit there. Sometimes you have to wait 2 times, right? So it's a mess there. So that needs to be fixed. So I'm glad to see that one on the list, right? Here's the interesting thing that we also discovered. As a pedestrian, here's what makes it dangerous too. The pedestrians cross the street. So not only is it just like a wide intersection that's really hard to cross, you got to feel like you're taking your life in your hand just crossing it. When you get here, this little path doesn't
It's not
exist
there.
anymore, right? So they
It's
made this into
it's a dirt little trail, but
it's
not
sort of like a dirt
not what
trail,
it-
but it,
not what it's
not
there
quite.
right now. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what the plans are for that, so we need to look into that. But you end up coming over here, and then you have to cross over again because there's no sidewalk along the left-hand side of Blumont. So you have to go over here. Even if you were, so a lot of these people, maybe they're going to the bus station that's down here on the left. You know, they might not all only be going to the town center. They could be doing other things. And they're going to have to rush over to this side, and then you're, walking along. Then there's a sidewalk on that side, I guess.
And then you have the
but
Washington and Old Dominion Trail, where that little paved trail is, and people want to go just right to the W&OD, and they don't
so
have
the
any
W&OD
access.
W&OD's below here, right below this bridge, but you can't get on or off the W&OD into the town center except in one location. So it used to be that you'd be able to kind of scooch up near what I call the Microsoft Bridge. I don't know if you can see that one. Let's go down this. Let's go down Blumont. Let's take a stroll down Blumont for a second, right? So you come down past the big Hyatt garage, and then did I go too far? I did. There's this bridge right here. Used to be able to get on a little path and go right down into the W&OD down here. Gone. That used to link up to that other path that we just saw in the intersection. Gone. So they took it away, and
But the good thing is they have that pedestrian thing there where people can push it and the lights go. So that's
that helps
one
people
safety
crossing
thing.
from the bridge.
Yes.
Yeah. But then over here, after the there's the new bridge for the Reston Town Center next. I guess it's hard to see, but the only way to get onto the W&OD is right here next to this little bridge. There's a little path that brings you down, but it brings you down and to the right. So there's really just one way to get on and off the W&OD from Reston Town Center. It's down in this area by the VeriSign building. So anyway, hopefully they're going to be improving this Blumont Way in addition. And I think that's part of what they were saying, Kathy. There was one particular person on the committee
Yes.
who was like, we want to review.
This is
go ahead.
Steverson who said, the good thing is you'll find more stuff. The bad thing also, you'll find more stuff.
And I guess he was talking about the cost of everything, right?
Referring to the increased cost that would come with more expansive projects.
Yeah.
Opening a can of worms.
Yeah. So real quick, let's look at one more section. I want to look at the temporary road. So there's another section here, New Dominion and Temporary Road. And that looks like this on the Google Maps view. There are 2 left turn lanes. So let's get up closer to Not Your Average Joe. So on the right,
Passing
we've got
La Madeleine, Not Your Average Joe's, Town Center. Original Town Center is on the right-hand side.
And the Whole Foods parking lot now. So if you turn right, you're on Temporary Road. Temporary Road's pretty narrow here. And I think they mentioned having a bike lane going on here and improving what they call a receiving lane. So I think that means they're going to put at least 2 lanes here or making it easier to make this turn. It's a pretty tight turn if you're going at speed. And then it's really for pedestrians coming from some of these condos and from the Lake Ann area, Wainwright, all those areas, Old Reston Avenue, they're going to have a hard time. They have a hard time navigating here from a pedestrian and bike point of view. also. So they're going to do some fixing up over here. And then also over here on New Dominion, I think there's talk of putting in bike paths and just cleaning up this road. And for anybody who's ever been coming from the other direction, so I'm going to turn it around. If you're going toward Temporary Road, coming from the town center, going toward Lake Ann,
That's her.
this part is where it gets confusing. You know, you were right, Kathy, earlier we were talking about, are there 2 right turn lanes? There are. So when you're coming from
Told you.
this direction, it's like, which lane do I need to go in? And you got people screeching all over. This one is the only one that goes straight. Then you got 1 left turn lane and 2 right turn lanes. It's just everybody's always trying to figure it out at the last minute.
What lane should I be in?
Right.
Yeah.
So some improvements happening there, it seems. The only other one that I think that they are really focused on for right now was the Sunset Hills Hunter Mill. I don't know what the actual prescription is there, but somebody was suggesting that that might be a useful spot for a circle, for a traffic circle. But also, it seems that those are few and far between in this area, even though they tend to alleviate a lot of traffic somehow
that
or
might
another.
be good because when you're going underneath the bridges, you can't see the traffic light. So until you're like on the traffic light.
Yep. So one other thing I wanted to show related to this is that there is a grid line. So out of the other $2 billion or whatever, this wasn't just for these intersection projects. It was also for a grid project. And this was kind of cool to try to give you an idea for the future here of improving the urban grid of Reston. And this chart shows essentially red is the conceptual, like these are planned potential new roadways, new improvements to the roadway. The blue is things that have been approved, and the yellow gold is roads that have already been constructed. So I just wanted to point out a few areas here. So you can see there's some blue in this Reston Town Center area. This is Reston Parkway, and this is Blumont Way, the yellow that we talked about, needing some of those improvements. But there are all these blue ones south of the W&OD trail. This is the new RTC next area, current area that's been built. I think this is an old map because some of these have been built. They should be turned to gold. And then these other ones right here are planned. And this is where we're going to get the second half of the RTC next project. And you'll notice that this one blue lane really connects to Library Avenue, which is the center of, it's the road that splits the oldest part of the Reston Town Center where Jackson's is and Ted Bulletin on the corner, J. Crew. And so that road will go extended all the way to Sunset Hills. And then it will also see in this red area, the conceptual area. Right now it stops at New Dominion. The idea would be that it would pick up again and cut through where the library is on the northern part of Reston Town Center, which is yet to be fully developed. And many Restonians might be aware that there is a long-term plan for RTC North, as they call it, Reston Town Center North, and there would be an extension of that road all the way to Barron Cameron. So you'd have the grid being extended, making traffic a little bit easier to maneuver around, in and around the town center area. And this kind of thing is happening all along the urban core. So there's nothing happening in where most people are living, you know, in terms of townhome clusters, single family areas, the older parts of Reston. We're talking about the urban core zones. So you'll see a lot of the grid areas and things changing and evolving over time as those developments come online or grow. So not enough time for us to do a full deep dive on that, but I wanted
That was enough.
Exactly. I just wanted to share that that's coming. So anybody who wants to should get out there on the Fairfax County website and take a look, and you can get an understanding of what is in the works. So Anything to add? Kathy, we're good?
The only thing is when you're crossing the street, don't be on your phone. Be aware of your surroundings. Because
Yes, that doesn't help. I'm
and
blaming
when
the
you're
cars, but yes, I'm with you.
or if you're in the car, put your phone down. Be aware of your surroundings so we can keep it a
Exactly.
safer place.
There you go. I'm with you
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it a wrap. Let us know in the comments what you think. Are those intersections worth improving? What do you have plans or thoughts for any of the other intersection areas? Love to hear them. And keep in mind, what I want you to do now is if you like this, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe
Share
to our
it.
channel,
Share
it. And then
Yeah.
we also have weekly Reston Insider newsletter. So jump on with that. And we are, Kathy and I are Reston real estate agents who are really, happy about doing things for our community. And that's why we do this. But if you know anyone who is interested in potentially moving in or out of the Reston Herndon area, give us a shout. We'd love to help them out.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Reston.